All set, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Actually, change your shit. Oh my god. Currently recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let me sort myself out. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Pure Jamie Milne podcast, JMTTv. I am joined here today with my younger brother, Julio.
Hey.
Raul.
Hello, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been really looking forward to this podcast. This young man here, if you don't already know, is my son Joshua. This fella, he came from me, and many meanings of the word. Yeah, from my testicles and from ladies and gentlemen, Josh here. So let me introduce you to Joshua Milne, my son, and an amazing component of our JMT facility, the gym, the Mind Gym, and everything else. And I'm so excited to blaze into this podcast with him. And like many people, he's like, how long is this going to take, Dad? What's the questions? It's high tide at 11, yeah, so I better hurry up. Like most people, give a bit of runway, give a bit of insight into who I'm having a conversation with, and who I'm spending some time with. Now, this young fella here has quite an amazing past, above and beyond coming from me. I've been practicing that.
Nothing to say to that.
So Josh's experience with the fitness industry started really early. I had photos of him and of course memories of him even in the naval-based gym in Auckland when he was really little, and nappies and running around, and that was probably his first exposure to fitness. So from a really young age, running around the leg press machine, getting in a few fucking sneaky lat pull downs and the rest of it. Josh has also obviously been exposed to the fitness industry his whole life. His mum is fitness is high up there on her values as well. So being a competitive athlete as a young fella as well. He also joined me on a couple of mini miles for Mary's charity events. He's run through the South Island with me as a young fella. He was competing in CrossFit competitions from about 2010, not only in the actual fitness component, but also in a dance-off and a singing competition. He was Elvis Presley at the age of how old?
Maybe 11 or 10 or 11.
Yeah, so he won the
Something
kids
like
CrossFit comp and then busted out some Elvis moves and stuff like that. So it's been his life's journey, not as a professional yet up until recently, but certainly just in terms of his reality and his living experience. He's been fortunate to be coached with amateur boxing from a couple of New Zealand champions, Dan McKinnon, one that springs to mind, and then also Gavin James, the legendary boxing coach up in Cairns, far north Queensland. Interestingly enough, when I opened up JMT with my old business partner Lee, Josh came on board then as an intern, as a very young man, but interestingly enough, his life's journey wasn't to really begin as an adult in the gym, and he found himself heading over to Europe for a number of years, nearly 6 years, 5 and a bit years, which was quite incredible, and that's a big story in itself. We could speak this whole time on the podcast about how he did that and what he did and the challenges,
who he did,
and how he did that. That's why I have a grandson in his name. So yeah, and amongst all the other incredible things Josh has done, he's also a father now too, and it's safe to say he waited till the ripe old age of 24 and not 19, like myself. But yeah, the adversity he faced and the challenges he faced, going over to Europe and then working on the super yachts and traveling all around the world, have given him an enormous level of self-discipline, tenacity, and a very high level of professionalism. And today I'm very proud to introduce you formally to my younger brother. No, my son Joshua Milne. How are you, bro?
Yeah, you. Yeah, really good. Good to be on the podcast. I think I spoke to you about this a couple of weeks back, saying we should definitely do one, sit down and talk shop, and talk about experiences and throw some ideas around. So yeah, really excited to be here and to see what questions come flying.
Oh, they're nice. They're nice and simple questions, mate. We keep it simple around here, mate. Tell me first of all, like, so from your perspective, and as the listeners now understand, you've been exposed to the fitness industry for a very long time, your whole life, and it's been part of who you are, and just recently placing very well 250 something.
Yeah, it's 250th in the quarterfinals of the CrossFit scene, so I did really well in the Oceanic region. Wasn't the goal. Well, the goal was for next year to be placing that high, but it happened this year. So then now the next one is to hit regionals and to compete in the semi-finals of CrossFit.
Yeah,
so
cool.
That's the plan.
So Josh has come blazing onto the CrossFit scene. He's been doing CrossFit. So after having 5.5 years off, he's spent the last 9 to 10 months really dialing in and really focusing, and a lot of those skills and those attributes that he's developed overseas, he's now put into his training. So the question I have for you, like in your experience, having seen the fitness industry for all of your adult life, what is a memory or an experience or a moment or something someone said that has changed you, that has changed a part of you? Yeah, you fucking like it.
First question off the bat with that one. I've got to think about that. For me personally, I think it stems back from being a part of the fitness industry from a very young age and seeing the effect of probably what you had or have had on numerous people and helping others in a way which not many people can. And so for me, it probably took for me to go away, run free for a good couple of years, and then for selfish reasons, and to learn some things, and to come back and now be selfless and to help people in the way that you were helping others from when I could see from a very young age, and to see that and to do that for myself now is probably the big thing that changed my outlook on the fitness industry.
Yeah, awesome.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I can confidently say, having watched you as a professional now, and how you said, being selfless and doing things for others, you definitely display those quality character traits and things like that. And yeah, just like Josh is saying, for listeners, Josh organically found that, and he had to go and do stuff for self. He had to go away, do his thing, learn things, do things for himself so that he could even come back and then be able to do that for other people.
Yeah.
And do you reckon it's an important part of the industry, like literally just wanting to help others, support others, or?
Yeah, I think definitely it's in the same thing, like that same, you fill your cup up to help others or to fill their cup up is a big key part, and being part of that industry is taking that time to acknowledge people's whereabouts and where they are at that present point, taking that on and being able to help and provide for them so that you can benefit their life in any way possible, even if it's the smallest part of their time or in the gym, you're still helping them out in the long run, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's a massive part.
Yeah, training's like a metaphor for life, really. What happens in here ripples out there, as you know.
And yeah, well, I think that's it. As soon as we put that time, I find it's good now putting time into people, that then creates that ripple effect for others, that they leave here feeling really, really good, and then they carry that on to other people, and it just goes through the community.
Oh, it's like a fucking... It's like it's very similar to a sexually transmitted disease or a virus of some description.
Start somewhere.
And then it just spreads.
Yeah.
Like
to that JMT STD.
Oh, dude! Cut! Fuck! I knew it was a bad idea. Anyway, moving on. So turning up as your best self, I'll quickly get out of that. So turning up as your best self, how do you, because this is the thing, we work with a lot of fitness professionals. We do a lot of cross-pollinating here on the Sunshine Coast in a professional sense. So we work with other trainers and they work with us. And so there's a lot of cross-pollination. There's a lot of strategic alliances and things like that. So like as a professional, so obviously as a fitness professional and soon to be business owner, we'll talk about that soon, how do you turn up as your best self each day? Because you do a remarkable job. So how do you turn up as your best self, and what inspires you to do so, other than being my younger brother?
Yeah, so I think for me, what really thrives me coming in is building or help building better versions of ourselves. So coming in here knowing that I'm here to help make a difference in people's lives. You know, there's certain people that we work with that, you know, may not find it hard to say pick up their child or anything like that. So it's knowing that we can help to alleviate that and be able to help people have a better life or their fitness over a long period of time. You know, age or getting older is a big thing, and people get to the point where this one's
Fuck.
That's where the big motivation comes from, is that there's a certain point that, you know, we're all going to get older, limitations start setting in. So why not prolong that and be able to move functionally well and help people move the best way that they can, so that over a long period of time that lasts longer. That's kind of my motivation coming in, and trying to inspire others on movements and moving functionally well.
Awesome.
Probably big key thing.
Yeah, cool. So what would you suggest for other people? So that's what you do.
Yeah.
What would you suggest for them? So how can people turn up as their best self each day? Either they're going to be a teacher, they work at Audi, they might be an accountant, they could be a business owner. What's just some really basic advice for those people?
I think the highest part of it all
Is fixing this?
Yeah, fixing the camera first so you can hear me.
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Whatever the job that you may be doing, or that you have, and finding some sort of light in that tunnel, of whatever it may be, of just helping others. I think that's the biggest key part for me, is that when I wake up in the morning, I know I'm coming into a bunch of people and in some sense trying to bring a smile to their face and be happy and have a laugh. That for me is a big positive thing. So if you can find something in your daily job where you're affecting even just one person in that day in a positive way, then that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, helping others is huge, eh?
Yeah, that's where I get my sense of accomplishment, is helping others, and that stems definitely from, again, going and doing my own thing for the last 7 years, and now coming in and just being all about others as well as myself, which is really cool.
Yeah, awesome. What's the greatest life lesson you've ever learned? Fucking hell. How long's a piece of string?
Yeah, wow. There's definitely been a few, but I think mine, and what I find now, especially in the workouts that I'm coming across with CrossFit, and to still maintain even the times when it's really hard and struggling. You touched on it a while ago, but there was a couple of nights when I was in Europe when I had to spend the night on the streets because I didn't have enough money for accommodation, nor did I have much money for anything really. So it was just spending a couple of nights in the streets with a couple of other homeless people and hanging out in France, and knowing that from that time then something good came out of it. And it's the same with here. We put our bodies through a whole lot of stress in the workout, but at the end of it we come out of it feeling really good, or you've gained something from it, whether it be some strength, some speed, or anything like that. So at the end of something that could be bad in your eyes ends up being really good in the long run.
Such a good life lesson. I hope your mum's not watching this podcast. She'd be fucking mortified that you were sleeping on the streets. But that's, I'd alluded to that earlier on in the podcast. So one of the things that really impressed me And it's no wonder why Josh, has that ability to lean into challenging concepts and things and experiences, because a very short version of a long story, when Josh first went overseas, I just got a call one day and he said, "Dad, I'm going to Europe." And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, "Oh, I booked a ticket and everything. I'm ready to go." And I was like, "Whoa, like you haven't got any money, like not any big savings or anything?" And he was ready to go. And it's like, as parents would know out there, you can't do anything. Once they become adults, they take the responsibility and ownership for their own worlds and their decisions. Just have to sort of support from the bleachers best we can. So anyway, Josh goes overseas, and he had this dream of working as a diver and working on the boats and the yachts. And he literally, over a great period of time, was trying to get work in Nice, was it?
Yeah.
And it was super, super demanding. And anybody that's been over there, lots of people are trying to get jobs on the yachts. And I remember having conversations with Josh as the days went by, and he was still getting bumped. And I was saying to him, "You got to turn up every single day, and ask for work and present yourself well and just stick at it." And this went on for weeks, and Josh kept turning up. Money started running out, then he had no money, and then he was living rough. But he kept turning up and pestering people, and he kept pestering this one particular, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could have this story a bit up in the clouds, but he kept pestering this one captain or yacht owner to the point that he turned around and said, "Fucking hell." Like, even the squeaky wheel needed some grease, so he kept turning up. And then he said, "Look, you can come out for whatever amount of time it was, for a few days. You're not getting paid, but if you fit in and stuff, then we might look at a job." And that was, that was the start of a 5.5-year career, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was, straight off the bat there for a little bit, and then after that one job, it was game on.
Yeah, which is amazing. And that's a great reminder for all of us, just to fucking hang in there. Don't give up so quick. And just think about it for a second, what it's like if you've ever traveled to run out of money, because I've traveled and run out of money and lost my shit and bailed and asked people for help and all this other stuff. And I just think it's quite remarkable that Josh didn't, and he hung in there, and the rest is history. And just, it's the same with, the training. Like, sometimes the workouts can be really fucking challenging. A 5K walk can be a nightmare for some people. A CrossFit benchmark workout could be Mount Everest for some people. But it's about not quitting. Quitting's the fucking worst thing you could do. And just hanging on in there. And then on the other side of that,
French girls in a super yacht.
Is French girls in a super yacht and cocaine and Coronas. Oh my God! Stop it. Cut. Look, so far with so you've got a lifetime of wisdom in the fitness industry, in terms of you've been around, you've seen it, you see how it works, you've seen it from both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And now you're working in it as a professional and surging ahead, like a very busy client base. What do you reckon a tip, not the tip, but a tip for what would make the fitness industry a better place?
Oh, I definitely believe, in probably my heart of hearts with it all, that to make it a better place is, one, I think paying attention. PTs a lot of these days maybe either staring at the clock or just trying to make that money quick and easy. I think paying attention to your client and making sure that they're getting the best out of your time and their time, because at the end of the day they're investing in their life or a short part of it for you to better themselves. So I think taking that time to actually acknowledge each session, and then in the same sense as well, we're not all feeling 110% each day. We're not all feeling like the day that we lifted the heaviest deadlift that we did or squat. So I think, though we are measuring the weights, also go by how you're feeling each day. So if someone walks in knowing that they're tired or that they've had a certain, something going on, knowing that we don't need to push them as hard, but still make sure that they're moving well and very well. And we're not always chasing that numbers, but we're making sure that it's a solid movement pattern, and we're moving how we should. That's probably my two big key
what
things.
A great point. That's such a good point. And certainly I've been guilty of not paying as much attention, and I'm sure many other trainers could probably take some insight from what you just said. But I think even just life in general, we are lacking so much attention. You know, think about Facebook and social media. It's like an infinite scroll. We just scroll. And we can have 7 or 8 things on the go at any given time. That just giving those people that you work with, those people that are important to you, giving them that attention is a really important point.
Yeah.
So a couple of quick questions, bro. What's something people misunderstand about you or don't know about you that could be interesting?
One thing that probably people don't know about me is a big one. So to go from, if I was to look at myself, or if a year ago I was to say to myself that I was going to be in the position that I'm in, I would have told him to get fucked. Like, I was, from the last 9 months, 10 months, it's been full on training, 3 hours a day in the gym, making sure that I'm sort of reaching that ultimate goal that I was after. A year ago, I was probably in the Caribbean, still awake at 6 a.m, partying to my heart's content and doing that on a daily basis. So
Josh's mum, Janine, turn the podcast off now.
Maybe turn it off now.
Delete.
So yeah, it was a whole different lifestyle, which I don't really talk about too often. And you know, I think there's a few times where I actually called yourself and said, I don't know what the goal is here, what's happening, what I need to do.
Get some sleep was my reply.
Yeah, it was like this vicious cycle that kept going. And was really hard to get out of because comfortability and is a killer of a lot of things. So that was the big part that not many people know. And then to come back and pretty much hit the ground running and now like loving it. Just smashing the workout, smashing the
muscle ups and snatches.
Yeah, muscle up and snatches. That's it. The movement snatch, not the.
Oh my god! All right.
Yeah.
The
change of lifestyle was the big key.
Yeah.
And making it simple, some simplistic lifestyle has been awesome. Training, surfing, and family time has been amazing. And I think before that it was all complicated. Though traveling wasn't as much, but it was what we were doing. Just the work and freedom ratio was out of whack.
Yeah. Josh, share just a little bit. We've got another business venture coming up. We let out a few whispers around the traps for those that are listening to whispers, that we are soon to be opening a boutique training facility, JMT boutique training facility on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
And Josh is an enormous part of that, and bringing lots of experience in the business class of our realities, so the upper level of things, and just share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for those of you that are watching, if you've ever been to a restaurant before and you've walked in and the waiter or the waitress has pretty much remembered your name and your order and you're already seated down and just waiting for your food, like that easy, that quick, you're feeling special kind of thing. That's the sort of way we want the next part of JMT to be, that boutique, as Jamie said, the business side of the fitness industry. So if you think you arrive in the car park, we've got someone there that comes and meets you, opens up your door, grabs your gym bag for you, walks you inside, hands you some BCAAs or some pre-workouts, and then natural pre-workout, brings you in. You're then with me for an hour session, just making sure that your movements are well, and we're training to the extent that you would like and hitting those goals that we're sort of trying to achieve. Then they come, or that person comes, grabs you again, walks you out, and gives you some maybe some green smoothie, bliss balls, cup of coffee, offers if you'd like to go upstairs to a chiropractor or a recovery room, get a bit of a happy massage, and then gets a massage, it comes down, and off you go with your bags and to your car. So creating rather a fitness experience, more or less, not so much that in and out tactic, but you take maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours of your day of not just going through your fitness, but also your lifestyle. That's when the question we ask is like, what's your life worth? Like, do you want to just be rushed through the doors, or do you want to be treated to a really awesome experience through the fitness industry?
Oh, love it. Sounds bliss. I do like myself. A nice experience these days and things like that. So that sounds awesome. So a little bit for the people that are watching, listening, following, where is the best place to follow you personally, especially Josh is very hot on the CrossFit scene at the moment, very busy on the competition scene. And if people want to follow you, see what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, so Instagram's probably the biggest one, the JCF. That's it, Instagram.
Guess the dyslexia from his mum or she's not even watching now. I asked her to turn off.
So Instagram's the biggest one. A lot of the time I'm tagged on the JMT page anyway, so you'll see me there.
Yeah, cool.
Mucking about.
He's got a website too, www.allinaroundmymouth at hotmail.com.
I think it's Gmail actually.
Gmail, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an amazing podcast. Thank you for sharing your time with the old boy.
No worries.
Yeah. So jump on there, have a look at Josh's Insta page. Watch what he's up to as he trains and he prepares for a very long-term goal of at least going to the CrossFit semi-finals next year. Lots of competitions, lots of stuff going on, and take care.
Cool.
Thanks, bro.
See ya.